Today we're going to be talking about spirit guides. How do you communicate with them? Stick around because that's what we're going to be talking about today. Let's get into it. Hi, and welcome back to the Wholeness Shift. If this is your first time here, my name is Veronica. It's my intention to help people learn to live intentionally and find their joy and to expand their consciousness. If this kind of thing interests you, please hit the subscribe button below so that you won't miss any of the good information that'll be coming your way. Spirit guides. Even if you just learn about them, they know all about you. They know everything you've ever done, ever. They know every time you've ever slept. They know every time you've ever gone to the bathroom. They know every word you've ever said. They know every dream you've ever dreamed. They know it all. They know you intimately and they know you better than you know yourself. And they love you. They never judge you. And they have nothing but the most benevolent intentions for you. Having a spiritual team full of guides and angels and, the Holy Spirit and all of it, that's your birthright. You agreed to come to this earth and live this tough life because being a human is hard. You get a pretty dope spiritual team to back you up. A lot of people ask me what I mean by my guides told me or I learned from my guides. We're going to get into 6 different ways that guides can communicate with you in just a minute. But going back to what I was just saying, when I first started meditating and getting my vibrations raised and learning about all of this stuff, I learned rather quickly that I was clairsentient, which means clear feeling. It's a little bit beyond what being an empath is. If you've heard of empaths, it's an empath plus. I can feel energy. And so I was able to learn that I can feel physically in my body certain responses from my guides. Like if I ask yes or no questions, I can tell the answers based on the feelings I get in my body, etc. So that's one way that I personally communicate with my guides. And if you would like to know more about that, I would be happy to make a video. Please leave me a comment and let me know that that's what you want to hear about. The other way that I personally always used to communicate with my guides, and it was actually the first way that I learned to communicate with them, is by using a pendulum. If you don't know what a pendulum is, it's a crystal on the end of a chain, and it swings. And I would be happy to make a video and teach you about using a pendulum if that's something that you would like to learn about. If so, please leave me a comment below and let me know, and I'd be happy to talk more about that. But until you learn more about it, I would just preface this by saying that I wouldn't recommend that you just dive in and use it without knowing anything about it. For the simple reason that you need to know how to protect yourself. You should have your vibrations higher by meditation or other means so that you invite lighter energies that are in line with your highest and best and have good intentions at heart. Because if not, you're just opening yourself up to whatever, and whatever might start bothering you. And you don't want that. So there are some things that you need to do prior. You have to protect yourselves, guys. You have to have your vibes high so that you attract high vibrating things. And you have to ask for that protection and expect that protection. Set that as your intention, that only higher vibrating beings that are in line with your highest and best would come through. If you do it properly, there's nothing over there but good stuff waiting for you. So when I say I spoke to my guides, that's what I mean. I would hold this over the letterboard and it would spell out what it wanted me to know. But soon thereafter, I had learned that I am clairsentient. So now we have a little bit more efficient way of communicating. But if you don't have these gifts and you're not using a pendulum, what are different ways that you can pay attention to so that you can hear your guides talking to you? Let's get into that right now. Number 1, dreams. I've mentioned this before, but I'll mention it here again. Your guides are in charge of your dreams. All of them. I used to joke with my guides and be like, what do you guys do? Have like a weekly staff meeting where you just sit around and talk about what the themes for the week will be? And he's like, something like that. They help you work out different issues that you're having. They help build confidence. They can help teach you. For example, before I even knew what a spirit guide was, way back in the 90s, like 1994, I learned how to drive a stick shift. In my dreams, my guides taught me how to drive a stick shift. They can help you work off karma. This is just hypothetical. Say you were a thief in another lifetime and you still have karma to work off related to that. It's much less disruptive to your lifetime right now to have a dream where someone steals something from you versus having someone actually break in your house and steal your things. Make sense? And they can also communicate messages to you. So what I've learned is that almost everything in your dreams means something. So pay attention to every single detail, every color, everything, every number, all of it. Pay attention to it, look it up. There are a few dream interpretation websites that I've found that are pretty good. And, I don't have any affiliation with them or anything. They're just ones that I use. One is called Antiflow, AUNTYFLO, I believe. And then like Dream Moods, and I'll look up a few of them and I'll put them down in the description below. I get asked this a lot, actually, and this is always my response. People say, well, how did those people know what dreams mean or what your guides mean by these dreams? And my answer is, I don't know. I don't know if these people that originally created these dream dictionaries, if these people just had like a spiritual link to their spiritual team and they were downloaded that information, or do our guides pay attention to what humans think are meant by these symbols and then adjust their plans accordingly? They're like, oh, yeah, well, when they dream of white, they think that means spirit, so we're just going to take that meaning and run with it. I'm rambling, but you get what I'm saying. Take everything that you read with a grain of salt and compare it against what you felt in that dream. For example, if you had a dream about something and in the dream you felt so loved and happy and peaceful and joyful and you woke up feeling all blissed out and wonderful, but when you look up the meaning of a certain symbol you had in that dream, it's like, this is a symbol of death and destruction, beware, You know that that's not accurate. So usually there will be more than one meaning listed for a certain symbol. Your gut will tell you what resonates as truth with you. If another one is like, this is actually a symbol from your guides that love is on the way and that you have nothing to worry about. That sounds like it resonates a whole lot more as true with your experience than the other one. So follow your instincts. Number 2, the music that's playing in your head. Your guides are in charge of the songs that play in your head. They are your own personal DJ. There tends to be a reason behind everything that they play. And if you don't like a song that's in your head, ask them to change it, and they will. If you're having a rough, sluggish morning and you're having trouble getting motivated, chances are you'll probably have a song playing in your head that's more upbeat or that brings you joy. They can also communicate to you, though, so pay attention to what you're hearing. For example, one day I was walking out of work, and I work at a pretty big place, and I have to park in a big parking garage, and I couldn't remember where I parked. I thought I was on the right floor, but I couldn't remember. And so I was standing there and I finally just said, okay, please help me find my car. Which direction should I head? I heard the song change to Beyonce and she was saying to the left, to the left. So I looked to the left, and there, lo and behold, was my car. Number 3, signs and symbols. Before I even knew what a spirit guide was or that they existed, I had started noticing what some people refer to as angel numbers all the time. It's like 3 or more repeating numbers, like 333, 444, 1111, etc. I started noticing this all the time. Like multiple times per day, all the time. And like I said, I didn't even know what spirit guides were at the time. So I had just taken that as a sign from God. And I started praying about it. And I'm like, okay, Lord, I don't know what this means or what you're trying to convey. But until I know differently, I'm just going to assign meaning to this. And because it's happening way too much to be a coincidence. I don't really believe in coincidences anyways. So until you tell me different, I'm going to say that every time I see this, it's a love note from you. So when I see this, I'm just going to say, thank you for loving me. I love you too. And it became a little love note. So other people might say that certain specific numbers have different meanings or whatnot. But to me, my personal meaning for these are, I love you. Once I started talking to my guides, they had brought it up to me. And I was like, that's you guys? And they're like, yes, that's, Spomi said that, yes, that's me. And yes, they are little love notes. Now, if I'm having a rough morning, I might see an abundance of license plates with 333, 777, 555. Or I might look at the clock and it'll be that time. And I just take that as extra love coming my way. Another symbol that I have is dragonflies. When I lived in Arizona, I used to go out and swim by myself every morning. This one morning in the pool, there was a dragonfly, and he was flitting all about, and he was so pretty, and he kind of came and danced right in front of my face. And at first it was cute, and then it kind of freaked me out a little. I'm like, oh my God, he's like being so aggressive. He's right in my face. It's like he's going to eat my face off. So after I went in the house, I got my pendulum. I started talking to my guide again, and I'm like, did you see that? What the heck was up with that dragonfly? And he said, that was me. I was just trying to put some joy into your day. And I'm like, oh, that was you? I'm sorry. I thought you were going to eat my face off. So now I have associated dragonflies with spirit. So now they know and I know that anytime I see a dragonfly, I take that to mean that's them. They love me. They're with me. A few years ago when my grandma passed away, my sweet, sweet grandma, I was standing at the graveside, and her priest was talking, and I was just so sad. And I looked down, and a dragonfly flew up and landed on my hand. I was standing there with my hands crossed in front of me, and a dragonfly came and landed right on my hand. And I just smiled, and in my mind, I spoke to my guides, and I was like, thank you for being here with me. I love you too. And the dragonfly sat there with me through the entire service. And at the end of the service, it flew away. So look for different symbols in your life, things that start showing up all the time. Or you can choose something and assign it. For example, after my grandma died, I had said, every time I see a butterfly, I'm going to take that as meaning that my grandma has come to say hi to me. And so now she knows that that's her symbol to me. And I can feel her energy show up whenever I see a butterfly. And I know that she's sending that to me. You can assign your meaning to whatever, and your guides will go with it. Or your family members or whoever. Number 4, synchronicities. So what are synchronicities? Have you ever heard that word? A synchronicity is what some people would call a coincidence, but there's no such thing as coincidences. Every single thing is planned for your highest and best. It's planned for your greater good. And when you have something that seems a coincidence, a synchronicity is something that your guides have orchestrated to show up at just the right time for you. For example, I just had a pretty good example of this happen a few days ago. I have a friend, a coworker, who I don't see very often, but when I do see her, she's just precious to me. And she recently had a loss in her family. Someone had passed away that was very dear to her, and she has been very sad. Friday at work, I had to go do something that I don't necessarily do at that time normally. And I work in a fairly large place. And to go do this thing, I decided to take a different path than I would normally take. I mean, I never go this way. And I decided to go that way that day just randomly. And so I walked all the way over there. And as I'm going this way, I see her sitting in a chair over there talking to someone. I'm like, oh, look, there's Brandy. So I crossed over and I talked to her. She stood up and hugged me and started crying. And she had shared with me that she had wanted to see me all day long, and she was hoping that she would see me. I said, you have both of my phone numbers, my emails, and you're on my Facebook. Why did you not just reach out? And she's like, well, I just felt silly. I really didn't want to reach out, but I had told God that I really needed to see you. I wanted to see you. I knew that you would have some words of wisdom for me. I knew that you would be a comfort to me and you might be able to help me. And I just knew that if it was meant to be, God would send you my way. So my guide, some way or another, had drawn me to go this other way so that I could run into Brandy to be there for her in her time of need. Now, some people would say that's a coincidence. I don't believe for 1 second that was a coincidence. So if you ever have situations where you're thinking of a person and then all of a sudden your phone rings and it's them, or you want to take an interest in a specific hobby and you walk into the break room at work and there's a magazine right there on that specific hobby, things like that, those are synchronicities. So when you're noticing things like that happen in your life, you're praying for a sign, you're not sure what the right thing to do is, and then you get something related to that specific thing right there. I mean, that's how your guides are going to communicate to you. Pay attention. Number 5, the voices in your head. I don't mean that in a creepy way. I don't mean that in a something's really wrong type of way. I mean that as in most people think that the voice that you hear in your head is all yours. But it's not. When I first started talking to my guides and I used to say, I wish that I could hear you, and I'd be told, you can, you just don't understand that it's us you're hearing. So they did some work with me on this and helped me to learn how to hear their voice or recognize it as their voice instead of mine. One of the ways that they taught me was to pay attention to how the information arrives. What I mean by that is that when it's you, your voice that you're hearing in your head, it's going to be information that you're looking for. For example, if you're standing in your closet looking at your clothes and you're like, what color do I want to wear today? Blue, I think blue. You pulled that color. If you're like, okay, 1 + 1 is 2. You just did that math problem. You pulled that information. However, if you're standing there cooking dinner and then all of a sudden the thought pops into your head, you forgot the cilantro, and you're like, oh, crap, I forgot the cilantro, and you go looking for it. You were not searching for that information. You did not place that information or pull it out. It appeared. That was your guides communicating to you. If you're sitting there and a thought comes into your mind, you better move that glass. It's going to get knocked over. And you're like, ooh. And you scoot it over, and 2 seconds later, someone comes barreling through and would have knocked that glass over. That was spirit communicating to you. If you can't remember somebody's name and you're like, oh, what was their name? What was their name? Help me remember their name. And then you just go about your business, and like an hour later, poof, a name pops in your head. You're like, it's Bob. Bob. You did not pull that information from anywhere. That information was given to you. That is your guides communicating to you. So one of the easiest ways to take advantage of this is to learn how to ask questions and then wait for the answers. For example, sometimes if I can't remember something, or if I'm like, okay, what did I come in this room for? And I just sit there and clear my mind, and I literally try to think of nothing, just empty my mind and allow an answer to float in. So if I'm like, what was the next thing I was going to say? I can't remember. And I allow my mind to be blank. and poof, the answer will float in and it'll be provided to me. That's your guides trying to help you. So you can ask questions about, I don't know, whatever you want to, and just pay attention to have no expectations about what answer will be coming, and just be patient and allow it to come. And number 6, the final way that your guides will communicate with you is through your intuition, through your gut. Spirit really does communicate through your gut. So if you're getting a gut instinct that something's off, listen to it. Or if you're knowing that, on paper this plan seems like a disaster, but your gut is just telling you to go for it, you might want to consider going for it. Because oftentimes they can see things from the bird's eye view, and they get the big picture, and they know that it's going to be okay, and they know the different ways that they're going to help orchestrate things and that you're going to be okay. So right now, with the facts that you have currently, it may seem like it's a bad idea, but you really should go for it. Listen to your gut and don't second guess it. So I hope this helped you understand your spirit guides a little bit better. I would encourage you to talk to them. They really are your best friends, and they really are here to help you with whatever you need help with. And they're here to help you grow and to help you accomplish whatever it is that you had set out for yourself to accomplish in this lifetime. So if you have any question at all, please feel free to reach out to me, leave me a comment, and I would be happy to help you figure this out if I'm able to. Thank you. Have a great day. Until next time.